Motorhead Garage, the program that each week introduces you to and shows you how to install the latest in exciting and innovative products for your vehicle. Now here's your host, Dave Dobson.
Hey there, Motorheads. I know we've extolled the virtues before of Custom Auto Sound. And Custom Auto Sound, as you know, makes vintage look stereos and speakers. Those radios have modern technology, but they look just like the originals. They came off the assembly line, like with this Corvette some 48 years ago. And I know we've told you plenty about the radios, but the speakers from Custom Auto Sound also look and sound amazing. Custom Auto Sound has kick panel speakers, in-dash speakers, or indoor speakers. And for Corvettes, this sound bar. This thing is really cool. Now with the sound bar from Custom Auto Sound, the music in this Corvette is going to sound even better than when it rolled off the assembly line in Bowling Green. Let's talk about installation. Everything you need comes in the box from Custom Auto Sound. The spanner bars are where you're going to start. Here you space everything out, you put the spanner bars in the slots where they go, and you get a rough idea of where you need to be. Then I measured the space that we had available. This only has to be rough because we can tweak it a little bit later. I set that tape measure down and I sized the whole assembly, and then I grabbed some set screws that come with the kit from Custom Auto Sound and the Allen key that comes with it. Tighten those set screws down just to put some pressure onto the spanner bars to make sure nothing moves. There's no holes there. Now, plenty of wire came with this kit from Custom Auto Sound, and we could have hidden the excess up behind the carpet flap, but the owner decided to cut the wire shorter, so we put spade connectors on each end, and we were in business. We just measured the gap between the two base ports to make sure everything was square before we started taking our measurements here. And then we grabbed the center panel, and we could cut that with a utility knife. If you have a bandsaw or something like that, that would work as well. Now, this doesn't have to be perfect, and I'll show you why in just a moment. And you can see our edges were not exactly perfect. Once you're done cutting, you fit the center panel into the middle there on the spanner bars, and you can adjust everything in or out. So if you cut it a little fat, you can slide it out just a little bit. If it's a little too narrow, you slide it in. And here's what I was talking about, why it didn't have to be perfect. That's because of these trim pieces. They call these base port clips. Those snap right in, and they give it a really nice finished look. Now it's time to put the unit into the car. And in the Corvette, it sits right on the ledges on either side, right above the wheel wells. So that was easy. I didn't need anybody to hold the other side. And Custom Auto Sound gives you self-tapping screws. Those are included in the box. I just took my drill once everything looks centered up, and I was able to drive the screws in on all four corners. But before I tightened everything down, I tucked the wires up behind the sound bar, and we were in business. Of course, the 1970s is really when aftermarket car stereos started to take off and become more sophisticated. So if you have a vintage car from the 60s or before, you know the sound quality was nowhere near what it is today. In the good old days, there was only analog radio with analog sound, and that meant AM radio or AM and FM if you were a trendsetter back in the late 1960s. And of course, you got to listen to all of it through a glorious single speaker in the center of the dash. With Custom Auto Sound, you get a radio that looks authentic, and it looks just like a radio that would have been in your car when it rolled off the showroom floor. But you get the technology of today that you can't live without. First and foremost, you can go hands-free with Bluetooth technology. When you're driving your classic car, the last thing you need is a distraction when you're trying to use your cell phone, not to mention the fact that over half of these United States require that you go hands-free. So, Bluetooth keeps you safe on the roads, and it keeps you from getting a ticket. And oh, by the way, some models from Custom Auto Sound let you use Bluetooth to stream music from your phone or MP3 player. Custom Auto Sound radios also have aux and USB connections, so you can connect your digital player or your CD player. And I tell you what, these radios look amazing, and it would be easy for Custom Auto Sound to stop there with the styling, but they don't just look great. These are high quality components that are going to sound great and last a long time too. Radios from Custom Auto Sound are built at the same factories that make a lot of high-end, high-quality name brands that you know. And in addition to that, every model undergoes a battery of tests to make sure it can stand up to the beating it's going to take in the real world. There's the extreme temperature testing, where the unit is subjected to frigid temperatures as well as intense heat. Then there's the temperature aging test and the ever-important vibration test. We all know how much a car can vibrate and shake while you're driving, especially older cars with big engines and aggressive cams. Well, Custom Auto Sound radios are designed to stand up to all of that. Maybe you're waiting to go to CustomAutoSoundMFG.com because the whole process seems a little daunting. But let me tell you, Custom Auto Sound makes every single step super easy. Of course, you've seen the installation. Let's talk about choosing the right radio to begin with. Custom Auto Sound has radios for over 450 particular models of cars and trucks, but you won't have to spend all your time sifting through page after page online, checking the specs to see which radio fits. All you have to do is go to the website. You'll see where it says Shop Products by Car. Then you select the make of the vehicle. Another window pops up. That's where you'll choose the model and then the year. And up will pop all of the radios, speakers, and accessories they have to fit your specific vehicle. So let's review. Radios from Custom Auto Sound are easy to pick out in the first place. They're easy to install. They sound great, they look great, and they're going to be durable. High quality units that last you for a long, long time. Go to customautosoundmfg.com to find the radio that suits you, your style, and your budget. Hey, we've got a bit of news before we go to break. Charlotte is the home of the HPX, the inaugural High Performance Expo. Fans, racers, manufacturers, industry insiders, they'll all be there at one of the world's epicenters of racing. You can see race cars and the latest gear, lots of education sessions and more. That's coming up June 3rd, 4th, and 5th, 2025. Motorhead Garage will be there, and we hope you can make it too. We've still got a whole lot more coming up on Motorhead Garage, so stay tuned. Motorhead Garage is brought to you by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics, PaintedAutoBodyParts.com, the leading U.S. auto body parts online store, and by Custom Auto Sound, audio for the great classics, customs, and street rods. Hey, we love hearing from you at MotorheadGarage.tv, and you can email me personally, Dave@MotorheadGarage.tv, and a lot of folks have done that. They love this piece, and they wanted to see it again, so we thought you'd enjoy it. If you're a professional detailer or if you just like to keep your car looking good, a name you want to know is Buff Bright. And Tom, you've been in the business for what,
42 years.
42 years, so you know what you're doing when it comes to detailing. He's solved a lot of problems in those 42 years. And what's one of the first things you tackled in the detailing business?
So it kind of came about, I was working on a car and the light over me went out in the garage, and I was too lazy to go get a new ballast and fix it. And I said, I need lighting. I was working on a black 69 Camaro. And so I came up with an idea that we should hook lighting to a polisher. So the first thing we came up with was the flamethrower, and this light puts light exactly where you need it. Some guys wear headlamps, some guys hold a flashlight in their teeth.
Done that.
And some guys will put a light behind them. But the one thing we all realize is that without the proper lighting, if you can't see it, you can't fix it.
Well, and the side of the vehicle, especially toward the bottom,
absolutely,
the light doesn't work the same way. Everybody's hood looks great.
Yeah, because you've got light up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, the sides are the tough part. And we've all been there in the detail business where you polish your car and you pull it out in the sun and you realize, oh, I missed it.
Yep.
So you got to pull back in and do it again until you get it right. This makes it perfect the first time.
Yes. How bright is it?
800 lumen light. We're sitting at about 7,800 Kelvin. What's really interesting about this light is how long the battery will last. It'll make it 10 to 12 hours. There's not very many lights out there, even headlamps, that will last that long on the market. So this really gives us a lot of time to work with it. Now this is our latest iteration. This is the Flamethrower 3. What's neat about it, the Flamethrower 2 disconnected, so you can actually take this off. You can clock it to different directions. On some polishers, you can move it to the front of the polisher. But this one will pop out like that. And we have a headband, so you can have a headband on your head, and it just comes, snaps in, and you've got that headlight, and you can move right to the inside of the car. And then when you're done, you can just snap it back in here. So we can hook it to some of the mini polishers that are out. We can also hook it to a vacuum tool. We have clamps that'll hook to there. You can snap it on there, readjust your light. Now when you're vacuuming in a dark car, you'll see everything that's in there.
Very cool.
It'll hook to an extractor, snap on up there. If it's round, we can hook a clamp to it, and it'll just mount on there, and it's phenomenal how well it works.
I love it. Another problem we found is guys that are professional detailers. A lot of them are doing YouTube videos and doing stuff for their online marketing. So you came up with something that's going to help them grow their brand.
Absolutely. So these are the Buff Bright skins, and you might notice right there.
I see that. Very familiar logo. I love it.
We've got that on there for you guys, and we're going to leave you guys with some of those so you and your team can have those to take home, put on your polishers.
Excellent.
We call the 3 Ps to this brand: protect, promote, and personalize. So you can actually take that and put it in your social media, and you're gonna see that. If you're an industry vendor or something like that, and you're selling stuff to people and you wanna create these, you can use it as advertising, put it on your customers' polishers, and now they're advertising your brand. It really gives you the opportunity to take advantage of some valuable real estate.
So that solves the problem on the outside of the car. What about the inside? I know pet hair. We added some pet hair to one of our colleagues' vehicles here, and we ground that stuff in, and that took care of it. For real, it's for real.
It really does work. We've tried every other pet hair tool on the market. It's 5 times faster than any of them. And this is our latest one. This is called the Fur Eel Pro 2. And if you compare it to our older one, these last 10 times long as the original. And these just came out and they're amazing.
Great. And for folks that need a little wider head, you've got the hammerhead there.
Yep.
And then you have adapters to make everything fit quickly. Let's talk about those.
Yeah, you bet. We've had the standard ones that are out there in the market that we offer to our customers, but we just released the Vario. This one is called the Vario Max, and this is called the Vario Mini. If you've got a round hose, which everyone has on a vacuum, allows you to take that and adapt it. You can just go ahead and twist it, and it gets bigger. This one, you twist it and it gets smaller for the smaller size hoses, and it just fixes all the adaptation problems in the world.
You got it. Well, they're solving problems. They're going to make your detailing job a lot better and a whole lot easier. Buffbright.com is the place to go. Motorhead Garage rolls on right after this, so please stay tuned. How can you tell you've had a mouse in your space or maybe in your vehicle? Well, the first sign is obvious, and we've all seen it, and it's super gross. Mouse urine or mouse droppings. Especially in a vehicle you've been storing for an extended period, you might find droppings under floor mats or seats, or even on the dashboard or under the hood, and of course maybe beneath the engine cover or other small places like that. And while you're looking under the hood, keep an eye out for any kind of shredded paper or fabric. Mice love to use that to make nests, of course. Other signs you might have a rodent problem: strange smells in your vehicle. Mice have a musky odor, and you might be able to pick up on that. The solution is Mouse Blocker. Mouse Blocker uses ultrasonic waves to keep mice out of your vehicle and out of your space. To find out more, you can go to mouseblocker.com. And now on to more Motorhead Garage from our Mouse Blocker studio.
Believe it or not, this little valve here controls all the engine blow-by relieving crankcase pressure. Welcome to this AMSOIL Tech Tip. We're talking about the PCV valve, positive crankcase ventilation. Yeah, it does exactly what I just said it does. You see it right there? What's happening is you're getting some fresh air down in that engine, and we're sucking out all that stuff inside of the engine and reburning it. What stuff? Well, all that blow-by that's going by those rings. Every engine has some form of blow-by. How does it work? Well, pretty cool here. You can see when it's not running, the springs actually keeps it closed so you don't get any fumes out of your vehicle. Now, if we have idling or deceleration, that's a massive amount of vacuum. Not a good time to suck it in, so you can see it pulled it all the way up and it's virtually closed. The best time is actually at normal operation or accelerating or high loads. You can see there it's partially open, and then when you get on it or you got acceleration or a lot of load, that's when it's going to be about midway open and you're sucking all that blow-by out of the actual crankcase. Blow-by is a bad word. We're getting all that stuff in there, but even more important, this thing here is stuck in the valve cover, Len, and it's producing a lot of vacuum, man. It's easy to suck some oil up in this guy.
It can, and if you take a look at the way some of the new oil that we're putting in these engines, when you look at 5W50, 016, there's two things going on there. Number one, the oil is getting thinner, and we're putting these large splits, 550, 050. Anytime you do that, the oil has a tendency to have something called volatility. And the way that the oil is built, the light ends of the product tend to want to go through the crankcase ventilation system and leave the crankcase.
So it's getting sucked up here. You can actually see on this one, you can see a lot of sludge and stuff. You shake them, a lot of times they don't move, they're getting bound up. Oil plays an important role there as well.
Yeah, it does, because again, you want it to stay in the crankcase. You don't want the oil in that valve, or it just creates a snowball effect and the valve sticks and then everything gets worse.
Yeah, engines aren't two-strokes in cars.
Correct.
Absolutely. Well, whether you have a snowmobile, a four-wheeler, ATV, UTV, boat, or car, every engine's going to have some kind of blow-by. That's all that debris and everything getting down into the oil. So you better use the best oil you can by going to amsoil.com.
This 78 Ford Bronco, it's the second generation, and there was only 78 and 79 of this model. Bought it about 5 years ago, and then spent about 3 years working on it. We originally thought we were just going to do a little work to it, get it up and running, have fun with it. But we started taking it apart, and the next thing we know, we ended up with this. It was pretty much a basket case. I knew it had quite a bit of rust, but I didn't have any idea how bad it was until I got into it. Many different parts and pieces, new quarters, different doors, different fenders. The engine's been totally went through, new TCI transmission, new gears front and rear. So every bolt from one end to the other has been touched. The whole purpose of this is something for me and my son to work on. In fact, the decision-making process was he wanted something loud and side pipes and all that. And 78 was the last year of no Cadillac converters. 79, same body style, but I couldn't run the headers and the side pipes and all that. So that's how we come up with this. The color's a little bit different. I always liked the baby blue or powder blue from that era, but we also wanted a little bit more blue to it. So I just flipped through a PPG book and come up with a color we were willing to take a risk on. I kind of grew up with them being everywhere. I've been to a lot of shows, I've been to this event a couple years in a row, and I don't see a lot of them in this condition. I really didn't know what we were creating at the time, so we've been real happy with it.
Motorhead Garage is brought to you by Quick Latch Products, no tools required to operate, American Muscle, the aftermarket muscle car experts, and by The Spray Source, the #1 source for professional DIY paint products delivered right to your door.
A while back, Jay Blake was our PaintedAutoParts.com Motorhead of the Week. Jay is the successful owner and crew chief of the Follow a Dream Top Alcohol Funny Car. That's cool in and of itself, but what's really remarkable, Jay is blind. Well, now it's time for Jay to start a new chapter, and you're going to love this. The Follow a Dream team has announced they're fielding an NHRA Nitro Funny Car starting in 2026. Jay Blake's Follow a Dream organization teaches the power of positive thinking, self-determination, and teamwork, and they do all of that through drag racing. You can help, by the way. Just go to followadream.org. That's an update on Jay Blake. He is our PaintedAutoParts.com Motorhead of the Week. Tribotex is a great product that works. If you just inject it into the engine, you don't have to go through anything extra. But Pasha, if you want to take it to the next level and make Tribotex work at its best, there are a few best practices. Now, #1, you guys have told me, clean the engine. Make sure it's a clean surface to begin with.
Yes, you want to make sure that these surfaces are clean. You can use engine flush before oil change, or you can use our new superior artisan bio-based cleaner called PR1.
And BR1 is great because it's environmentally friendly.
It is non-toxic, and third, it is a super concentrate, so a small amount goes really long way.
And the second thing, no other additives. You don't want to put other stuff in your engine while you're using Tribotex.
Yes, all additive companies, we all fight against common enemy, friction and status quo of large oil companies that produce mediocre product. But it is very difficult to know how different additives will interact. So we recommend you to stay within same technology.
Another one your lead engineer Brian told me about is actually mix Tribotex with the oil before you put the oil into the vehicle, right?
Depends on the application. You can inject it where it's easy to inject, or you can mix it with the oil and pour the oil through the regular route.
You won't notice immediate results necessarily with Tribotex. Sometimes it takes a little while, so you need some patience.
Patience is the virtue in this case, because we are not immediate solid lubricant. We are film former. We build the film over time. It takes about 10 motor hours to build the film that gives you dramatically low friction and all the benefits that goes together with using the product. So when you wait a little, it pays off royally.
But in today's society, I want immediate results. So if I don't see it working immediately, I'm just going to add more and more and more. But that's a big no-no. You don't want to overdo it when it comes to Tribotex.
You will hear difference in noise in the very first 15 minutes when the valve train starts to quiet down. But the biggest difference is from the coating piston cylinder group. The very slow splash lubrication and rings remove most of the lubricant. That's where the most difference for the long-term effect and the fuel consumption happens, and the power. That's what you want to wait for.
You don't want to overdo it with Tribotex.
Yes, lower amount over longer time works better than more at once.
I have a lot of viewers that email me and send me notes and ask me about Tribotex. They want to know two things, Pasha. The first one is it safe for my vehicle? Is it safe?
It's absolutely safe, and there's no condition in which it can't make an improvement.
And what about a new vehicle that doesn't seem to need much improvement?
In new cars, you will not see much of a difference in terms of efficiency, but you will see a lot of difference in terms of longevity. And right after first oil change, it's perfect time to apply.
What about older vehicles and you're starting to have problems and maybe you hear some rattles and that sort of thing? Tribotex is perfect for those folks too.
That's right. The more friction, the more difference it will make. So the older cars perform better, more cylinders perform better, and smaller engine, it performs better. This is all the places where a lot of friction robs you of fuel efficiency.
And it takes that friction away, but there's a lot of metal on metal wear, so you get some grooves and scratches and that sort of thing. How can Tribotex fix those?
The grooves turn into smooth, glassy-like surface that is porous ceramic, and those pores filled with lubricant so that lubricant works even when shock loads or sudden potholes happen.
Gotcha. Now let's talk about the other question I get a lot is how easy is it to apply or install or use Tribotex?
If you know how to pop up the hood of the car and find where you put oil, that's all you need. You stop the engine, you open the hood, you inject material, you close it, you let it run for 15 minutes to assure dispersion, and it's good to go for 500 miles, and then you will see a difference.
How often do we need to put Tribotex in our car?
It's enough for 40,000 miles, so once per few years if you drive not fast, or seasonally if you, let's say, ride-share driver.
Well, Tribotex is going to make your vehicle last longer. It's also going to take your old vehicle, actually repair the damage, and give you better performance. You can check it out at tribotex.com. You can also find all the science there behind it. Well, it's time to bring this one into the pits, but we're going to do it again in 7 days. From everyone here in our studio, we'll see you next week. So long.